Welcome to the Sega Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things Sega, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for Sega. Welcome everyone to the Sega Lounge, to a very special episode of the Sega Lounge. With me, two legends of the Sega community.
Okay.
I was waiting for the people like to have a reaction like that, but no. Okay, yeah. So
I had
we're
that
being
reaction, but
serious.
I had that reaction, but silently. But I didn't want to interrupt you. But I was like, Casey, you are the legend.
We are being serious. Okay, so two legends of the Sega community. No, I actually am. We have LimeReversed. Hello, Lime.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me
to the show. Yeah, and we also have James SkillJim Brown. Hello, James.
Hello. Thank you for having me as well.
Welcome back as well to the SkillJim Lounge. I mean, the Sega Lounge. Probably the person who's been on the show the most, maybe.
Bizarrely as well, yeah.
Probably.
I don't know why you keep asking me to come back.
I wish you could be here every week.
I'm very, very reliable. That's probably why I keep coming back.
And the most skilled.
And the most skilled. That's true. Hence the name. So Lime and James are here with me this week to celebrate 6 months of Sonic Frontiers.
Heck yeah.
Right?
Wow.
6 months. It's crazy how time flies. And we have sort of a structure, which is odd for this show, but we do have a little bit of a structure to talk about like a before and after Sonic Frontiers from our own personal perspectives. So by the time that people are listening to this show, Sonic Frontiers has been out for 6 months. We've played it. We've played the DLC as well, the first wave of DLC that's been released by Sega. We have our thoughts. We have our expectations for the future of Sonic, and we'll all talk about that and share our feelings and our thoughts on that. So I thought the best way to start this, to kickstart this conversation, guys, was to share with the listeners how we all felt about the state of 3D Sonic before the release of Sonic Frontiers, and maybe even before the announcement of Sonic Frontiers and the concept that Sega was promoting with Sonic Frontiers. I guess we probably could have different points of view on this, but let's start with James. So how were you feeling about 3D Sonic specifically before Sonic Frontiers was the thing?
Well, I don't know if I'm a little bit of an oddity on this, because maybe I'm just like a Sonic apologist. I was quite happy with 3D Sonic games. The only one I didn't particularly enjoy was Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric or whatever it is, the one on the Wii U.
Yeah.
But every other Sonic game prior to that or after that since, I've honestly really enjoyed. I enjoyed Unleashed, Generations. I'm a big fan of Lost World, to be honest. I know a lot of people don't like Lost World, but I really enjoy it.
Same.
Yeah. And even Forces. But obviously in hindsight, after playing Sonic Frontiers, Forces kind of feels like it could just be DLC for how that game is. It's it's just literally is the 3D Sonic stages and not a lot else. And but I still enjoyed it at the time. I didn't think it was a bad game. I know a lot of people want or crying out for like an Adventure 3 or whatever, and I do think we're going in good directions with that. But so far, over the course of the last 10, 15 years since Sonic Adventure 2, I've been very much pleased with 3D Sonic games for the most part. I know they keep sort of rehashing this 3D boost formula, the system, which works really well in Sonic Frontiers, so I'm not even that bothered that they're still continuing with the 3D boost. And I even loved 06, so I'm just a weird Sonic apologist. So that's me, really.
Okay. That's great.
I mean, don't say weird. It's always better to like something than to not like something. It gives you happiness.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. No, I do get that. I just know a lot of people are like really down on Sonic 3D games for some reason. I mean, I can't see some points they come out with. Like take 06 for example. It's like the laughing stock of the Sonic thing. But I
Yeah.
honestly, it felt like a Sonic Adventure 3 to me, and it was only until I went to like message boards or seeing people's reactions online, probably like 5 or 10 years later, that I even realised that people classed it as a bad game, because I thought it was a sick game at the time. I
Ah, yeah,
thought
yeah. I
Crisis
see.
City
Hmm.
and the demo that we got with I forget the name of it, but it's like a um, night castles and that sort of stage. I forgot what the stage is called, but I loved those Sonic stages, and I just expected the glitches, to be honest, after playing Sonic Adventure 2, where Sonic just randomly falls into the floor, or
Mm.
you go flying off a handrail into you know deep space, and and you didn't mean to go that way, or the camera glitched. I just expected that. That wasn't like seeing that in '06 was like a massive, that's
Mm.
makes this a bad game. So yeah, I've always been pretty positive.
I guess
Okay.
for me there, it's like either the glitches are there and it's bad, and less about if I'm surprised if they're there
Hmm.
or not, if I expected them to be there or not. I don't necessarily think that surprise or expectations should be factor in whether you judge a game as it is or not. Like either it is there and it's bad when it happens, or it's not there. Does that make sense? Like, should expectations really be a factor when you judge a game?
I think regarding games, I think you should just play it, because there's a lot of people currently at the moment that are saying Shenmue 3 is a bad game.
Mm.
I've seen comments recently saying like it's unplayable, and I'm like thinking like, have you actually played the game? Because
Mm.
it plays exactly like a Shenmue game. Obviously, there's some bad things about the game, story beats and that sort of content wise, but the actual gameplay is amazing. The graphics are amazing. I think Shenmue 3 is an amazing game. So to read people having these sort of comments, and then you've got people going off of that who like maybe were inquiring about the game. So in this case Shenmue, they were saying like, oh, I played the originals back in the day. Is it worth playing the third game? And then people are saying, don't bother with it, mate. It's it
Mm.
was unplayable. Those are giving people expectations, aren't they? So people going into the Sonic series, if I bet these people that have watched YouTube videos of people slacking off Sonic '06, and they're like, "Oh, I'm never going to touch that game. It sounds, it's like the worst game ever made." And they've got these preconceived thoughts that Sonic '06 is the worst game ever produced,
Mm.
and they're never
Mm.
going to play it. So they would never ever find out actually it is a pretty good game after all. It's just got this negative
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
connotation.
Definitely, if it makes you not play the game at all because of the expectations, oh yeah, then I'm definitely with you. That
Mhm.
definitely
Is that what you meant?
is a
That's
factor.
the way I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think more than expectations, or if the thing is there or not, is does it change or affect your enjoyment, the enjoyment you take out of the game? Because there are no perfect games, right? There are maybe
Mm.
close to perfect,
Well, Shamu.
of course,
Yeah,
but always from a subjective perspective,
yeah.
right? A perfect
Yeah.
game for one person may not be a perfect game for the next one. So
Yeah.
I
Indeed.
think with my in jumping into my own feelings towards 3D Sonic before Frontiers, um, I really enjoyed Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. In hindsight, and as time went by, less so Adventure 2.
Mate, I'm exactly the same with you there. That's weird.
I think I've heard people recently say that Adventure has aged poorly. I think it's the other way around. I think Adventure, for me, obviously,
Yeah.
I much more enjoy replaying Adventure, and I do that every so often, and not so much Adventure 2.
Hmm.
I can't like sit through a whole playthrough of the hero story, for example, of Adventure 2. But I can do like a Sonic and Tails playthrough, for example, in one sitting,
Yeah.
and that's fine with me. I can, and I enjoy it, and I have fun, and I probably will return the next day to do other stories. But I digress. The thing is, glitches or not, very, very long loading screens or not, looking at you, oh 06.
Mhm.
The thing is, do you? enjoy the games? For me personally, do I enjoy that game? Do I have fun playing it? If so, awesome.
Hmm.
And what I felt with many, I'm not going to say most, but many of like the most recent or the 3D Sonic games is I don't enjoy myself as much as I used to. There are exceptions. I really enjoyed Lost World, and I know I'm not probably in the. We are in the minority here, James. I think I really enjoyed Colors.
Hmm.
Unleashed, not so much. Although that's probably on me.
How so?
I was really, really let down with Sonic Unleashed when it released. But nowadays, I can go back and understand the merits of that game and what it did for 3D Sonic and the boost system and stuff like that. I can find myself enjoying that game more than when it first came out.
Let down in what way?
Probably expectations. There we
Yeah,
go
okay.
again, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
wasn't what I expected that game to be. I expected like a better Sonic 06,
Oh,
perhaps.
yeah.
Maybe something more akin to the initial the adventure games, maybe
Yeah. Was that the
more
one that
polished.
followed Adventure 6? Was it Unleashed?
It was, wasn't it? Yes, it was 08, so I think 2008.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
So I can kind of see where you're going at there. You'd think they'd improve on that formula.
Probably. And
Yeah.
to be fair, the Sonic stages are great.
Yeah, they are
Most of
absolutely
them.
amazing in my
Most of
opinion.
them.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I
No,
love them.
I agree with that.
But I was really upset with the whole werehog thing,
Mm, mm.
and in hindsight, I can go back and find some merit in that in those stages as well. Um, but my feelings towards like 3D Sonic, mixed bag. I think mixed bag of emotions as well. Some games really resonated with me, while others not so much. I don't think, for example, Forces was that bad of a game. Was just meh,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Hmm.
Was a game. Was
yeah.
like something I played, completed, maybe returned to a couple of times, but never really felt like, oh, this is an amazing experience that I want to replay. Come back to all over again. And so before Frontiers was announced, and even after it was announced, I was not really expecting much from 3D Sonic going forward. Um, I There's also the problem of having like a divided fan base that wants. Sega have put out so many different things, so many different little gimmicks and stuff throughout the years in Sonic games that different people want different things. And now you have a
Hmm.
divided fan base, and everyone's like pushing for bring back this, bring back that, do this, do that, and you won't be able to please everyone.
Yeah,
Uh,
very
and
true.
so my feelings were okay. Let's see what Frontiers is, but I'm not really expecting much, to be honest.
Hmm.
I wonder what the younger audience want from a Sonic game, because obviously I know our demographic is like middle-aged men that want adventure because they've got like this
I mean,
nostalgic
I
hit
mean,
of edge.
young adults. I think.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean,
Sorry. But do you know what I'm
that
asking there? It's like, what do you think the younger audience want? Do you think they're happy with these Forces, Frontiers, these random style of game, or they want something a bit more child friendly, or do even they want a Sonic Adventure 3 or something?
I don't think so. I don't think they want Sonic Adventure 3.
Do you think they
I
want Sonic Origins
that's for
Plus?
the oh, definitely not. But I think Sonic Adventure 3 is a middle-aged demographic thing. I think.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what the younger audience wants. I think probably
Maybe Sonic
Boost.
Boom 2? Sonic Boom 2 or something?
Oh,
Mm,
please no!
maybe I don't know. I think
Don't even put
like
that out in the universe,
boost to
James.
win. I have no idea how. To be honest, Sega actually know how they are able to like figure out and decide what to do
Yeah,
with
like
this
cater to
franchise.
everyone.
They can't. It's not possible.
No.
We've established that. But how do they decide which parts of the audience they cater to?
Mm,
But I think
tricky.
that's a whole other topic to discuss on another time. What about you, Lime?
Yeah, for me, it has been just very much up and down, to be honest. I absolutely loved Generations. Absolutely loved it. Um, like you both like Sonic World. For me, I do think that overall it was a good game. So I do agree with that. It was just some things that I've just absolutely raged over. Like I don't know, like stereotypical characters that like some of them were in my opinion quite offensive even.
Okay.
um
Who are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of Xena. Like that was
Okay.
like the offensive stereotypes of women baked into one character. Like
So are they the Deadly Six or whatever?
yeah,
Then yeah,
exactly,
yeah. Okay.
exactly. Like after defeating Cena, what one more one time? Do you know what she says to Sonic? Call me.
Okay.
We are Sonic. We defeated Cena, and Cena goes, "Call me."
Mm.
Come on, that makes no sense. That's just a guy going like, "Oh, what do women say? Oh, you don't never call me." So that we're gonna have Cena say that. Holy crap! It just no, please no. Like you go up to her and she goes like, "What? No flowers?" Yeah, that's another thing that women say, don't they? Oh, come on! It annoyed the crap out of me. And like then there were the Chow missions. Like, hey, collect 500 rings, collect 750 rings, collect 1,000 rings, collect 125 rings, collect the collect no no collect 1,250 rings, and then collect 1,500 rings. Then it goes on up to 4,500 rings. And then it's like clear a zone with 50 rings, clear a zone with 75 rings, goes up to 350. And it just continues like that with tedious missions. Like it's just so goddamn uninteresting, in my opinion.
See, that's
Oh,
the funny thing here because we're all coming from different perspectives. So, what I take away from what I'm saying is he values story a lot more than I do,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's looking at it from the perspective of a completionist as well.
Yes,
Because
yes,
you
Yeah.
have you've been 100% in games,
yes.
and so you have a different perspective.
Yep,
Because
yep, yep,
if I don't have fun with missions, just don't do them.
yep.
But you want to like
I
complete
need to
the
do it. I
game, so you need to
promise
do
to do it.
everything. Yeah.
One time, because of a mission, I needed to just go to a place because one mission is jump 250 times. And so you just get to a place and you just start jumping. It is so tedious. Why is that even there? That also annoyed me. But yes, if you're not a completionist like me, you're not gonna have that experience. If you don't care about the story, though this was, in my opinion, just so much in your face, I just could not ignore that. Sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, if you ignore those parts, I do definitely think that it was a well made game.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
And
it, it,
3D
yeah,
Sonic overall
yeah. The 3D Sonic overall,
before
Sonic,
Frontiers, that is.
yeah. Again, up and down. Did not like Sonic Lost World that much. Sonic Boom to me, I definitely felt alienated there. So I was like overall just feeling like, okay, maybe Sonic games are not for me anymore because they are obviously not catering to someone like me. So I was having thoughts about just like maybe abandoning the whole thing.
I
all
was honestly,
together.
I was worried myself when I stopped when they did that Sonic Boom. I thought they were going to change Sonic and the looks of every character, and that was going to be it for the future. Like they did with the Turtles. I think they like rebranded the Turtles, and it was that for like 10 years. And I was feeling a little bit disappointed when I did see how they came out with the new character designs. I'm glad it was like one game, one
Mm,
TV series.
mm.
Um,
Which was actually fun. The
this
TV
the
series.
TV series is great.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And the second, yeah, probably the second 3DS game was fun as well,
Oh yeah, I
in
forgot
a
about
way.
them. Yeah.
The first one, okay, yeah. Maybe that's why we got a second 3DS game and not a second
Mm.
Wii game or Wii U game.
Mm.
Yeah. But you were saying like mixed feelings then.
Yeah, very mixed, up and down. Because then Sonic Forces came out, and yeah, I did enjoy that, even though there are some gameplay elements that could have been better. The game kind of many times takes away momentum from you, which is why I'm feeling that the gameplay, is could be better, and why I feel like it's kind of meh a little bit. Other than that, Sonic Forces was everything I ever wanted in a Sonic game on paper. So it just proves that it's not necessarily the idea, it's the execution of that idea.
Wow. Powerful words there.
Powerful words. What did you guys think of the storybook games on the Wii? I know that's going back quite a while, but it's just something I thought about with
Yeah.
the Secret Rings and the Black Knight.
Mm.
Hmm.
I personally enjoyed them. But again, not something I would see myself. I finished them, like completed them, not like 100%, but finished the main story. Went back for some missions and whatnot, mostly secret rings,
Hmm.
but um, they were not exactly the Sonic games I was expect or I wanted to play.
Mm.
So they
Yeah.
were fun for what they were. I think I spent the most time with secret rings because I don't know. I don't know why. Because looking back, the controls were awkward and interesting idea, but probably not the best execution as well. But again, not really what I wanted from a Sonic game. So yeah, fun
Hmm.
for a
Yeah.
while.
I that is definitely my take as well. I enjoyed, like, I 100%ed Secret Rings. I haven't touched Black Knight, so I can't say anything about that. But
All right.
Sonic and the Secret Rings, I did definitely enjoy it for what it was and the challenges and everything. If someone would ask me, okay, so is this what you want Sonic games to be now from now on? Heck no. It's definitely not what I want a Sonic game to be, but I enjoyed it for what it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you, James?
Yeah, I think agreement with you guys. I enjoyed Secret Rings more than Black Knight. I don't know what it was about Black Knight. I just felt like it was a little bit more tedious to play than Secret Rings, with the sword mechanic as well. But also the music was great in Secret Rings. That's probably like kept me
Yes,
playing it more so as well, just because the music was so good. Um, which I do find in a lot of these games, to be honest, like the music, Sonic music across the board is just insane. So even if a bad game, I'm playing a bad game, like a bad Sonic game, the music sort of glosses over that a little bit as well, and
yeah,
you kind of want to keep playing it. It's some of the music. Just thinking about it in Lost World makes me want to play Lost World, because
definitely.
when I hear that song, I'm like, oh god, that stage is actually really good, and then I'll boot it up on Steam or something. So it's like even like the music in Sonic can kind of attach you to fond memories for a game.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure,
very
for
much
sure.
so.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The music, I think probably the exception is Sonic Boom in that
Yeah,
regard as well, which had
yeah.
like
I can't even remember
a
the music.
generic, exactly, generic like soundtrack. So,
Yeah,
but
it's a lot more atmospheric music than
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
anything else.
Other than that, every Sonic game has amazing music. And that's something that makes it harder, at least for me, to hate Sonic games. So, because
Even
at
though you're
least the
trying very
music,
hard.
at least the music is awesome. So we can't
Mm,
really hate the game. It's not really that bad. At least the music, but
yeah.
I don't think hate is the most appropriate word for any Sonic game. Actually,
No.
there's always something that you can like look at and see and say, okay, this is okay. This is decent at least.
There's not been any Sonic game that I played through so far that I've not felt compelled to sing along to.
Yep. Yeah. And I think we'll when we get to the DLC for Frontiers, the
Yeah.
music will come up again. So yeah, it's something nice to have like all this classic iconic music play while you're like zooming through the open worlds of Sonic Frontiers. But now that we've established how we were feeling towards Sonic and 3D Sonic before Frontiers, very briefly, guys, when the game was first announced, we got like a teaser, and then as time went by, we got more information. Looking back, and I was thinking about this earlier today, there were many different reactions as
Mhm.
as the months went by.
Mm,
There was like people that were very hyped for the game, but then everyone hated one of the gameplay trailers or something, and then everyone was hyped again because some like
yeah.
a news outlet played the game and they said it was good. So, how were you guys feeling before you actually got to play the game? What were your expectations? Were you like hyped for the game? Were you feeling like I should temper my enthusiasm here and maybe not get so hyped?
See, like Lime's point about the expectations sort of thing, like you were saying, I think it was IGN that put out really bad gameplay footage because I don't know if the guy wasn't too familiar with Sonic. He kept getting hit, and it just looked a bit clunky to play.
Mm,
Hmm.
So expectations at that time were a little worrisome, going from the original hype of the trailers and stuff, and then people sort of had this sort of mindset where oh, it's going to be another bad 3D Sonic game, and a lot of people went on YouTube to say, oh, look how bad this is looking. It's not shaping up too great.
mm,
And then obviously I actually went to EGX in London and got to play the demo. And as soon as I touched the controller and I felt how it played, zooming around and sort of this, it was the first world that you can play for like 20 minutes maybe before the demo ended. And any expectation of like worry I had was completely gone because I knew it was going to be a good game after all because it just felt really really slick. And it's just like Lime was saying earlier, I think if you've got any expectations, I think you just need to sit down and play the game yourself to fully know what you're dealing with, because hearing people's opinions, reviews, seeing trailers, and maybe having some doubts don't really give the complete story, the complete picture, and you don't really get the justice out of it until you actually sit down and play a game for yourself and make up your own mind.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. Like you need to like you need more information before you can actually judge a game, right? Like the first view that we got from the game was basically just how it looked, like the graphics of it. We saw vistas, we saw no enemies, we saw like nothing really that had to do with the gameplay. We just saw uh, different views of the environment, basically. And like, I guess we saw something afterwards there, and I was cautiously optimistic because it looks very empty. But, you know, we don't know what they're going to fill it with. So why go with that and go like, oh, this is going to be a bad game? It's just like, I don't have enough information yet. Like the only thing that we know so far, because I know that many other people also kind of went the bad route there. It's going to be an empty game. And I'm like, but we don't know that yet.
Yes, we do. We're the internet.
Yeah, indeed. Like they have only shown what it's gonna look like, like they haven't shown any gameplay yet. So like there was no information to take from. So I was like cautiously optimistic because it looked awesome.
I think
Really.
that's a good choice of words. Cautiously optimistic. I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
hmm Yeah.
that's where
Same.
I was at.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was maybe a little less optimistic, but still cautious.
Mm.
So, because I wasn't hyped at all until maybe like a month before the game came out. I think when was EGX? Probably like a month or two before the launch of the game, right,
I think
James?
so. Yeah, I think
I think
it
so.
was pretty soon. Maybe if the game came out in November, did it? I think it was
Yeah,
maybe September,
yeah, I think
possibly.
so. So that's when
Yeah.
I started like seeing people who have had actually played the game. Probably you as well. We probably had a chat about something
Yeah,
else, and then
probably.
Frontiers
Yeah.
came up, and that's when I started getting a little bit hyped and more optimistic. So, but I wasn't expecting too much of the game anyway. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I started to like there was one trailer that really just flipped it around for me, and it was the first trailer where you saw the squid. I was like,
Squid.
yeah, wow, holy wow, what is this? And I started to go like, oh, there are gonna be more surprises like that. It's gonna be so fun running around these islands and explore and see new stuff. And I started to believe. I started to become a believer.
Then you saw her face. No, okay. And you saw Sonic's face. The squid. Then you saw the squid.
When I saw the face of the
The
squid,
squid.
yes.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, that was before, obviously, and we've spent a few minutes talking about the pre Frontiers, before Frontiers BF, BSF maybe, and now we have the after Frontiers.
Hmm.
So ultimately, and in a very like streamlined way, is this a good Sonic game or not?
Yes. Is that streamlined enough? Yes.
Okay, we have one yes. Lime?
Yes, definitely. It is.
Can we get 3 yeses? Yes, we can. Yes, it is.
Nice.
It is a good Sonic game. I think so. I think so too. But now comes the hard part. Why is it a good Sonic game?
Mm.
Or maybe not so hard. I don't know. What makes it a good Sonic game for you guys?
Okay, but first of all, I'm gonna be shallow and say it is such a beautiful game. Like, sure, graphics should maybe not be that important, but oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, and that is a factor for me. Apparently, that really takes me in. Just the idea now you can ask Sonic run up enemies. That is freaking badass. I absolutely love that you can do that. Like the of course story. I do like that they did not do like a childish feeling story this time. They actually dared to touch on the deeper stuff. I was absolutely gutted and like blown away when Tails just started asking questions like, am I a burden to you? Holy crap. Oh my gosh. And then of course the one and not only, but like the one main factor for me, every boss, every boss is last boss quality. The music, the moves that you do, the badass moves that you do. Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that so much.
I think that's a pretty good answer. Yes, James.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if fans were expecting this. Going back to like how Sega cater to their audience, like were fans wanting crying out for like an open world Sonic game, possibly. But honestly, it kind of blew me away that is what we got. We did get this literal open world to run around, explore, and it's just so smooth and slick. Like I was saying, how you can just hop from rail to rail to, into homing attacks, pop, pop, pop balloons. You fall down, hit a ramp. It's so seamless. It's insane, really. It's like I don't even know how the devs planned out to put a rail here, a rail there. Like I was going for all the memory tokens that are pictured on the map. Like I did literally go around and collect all of them, even though there was like no benefit to doing that, no achievements or anything. But just how they planned them all out is like just insane to me. How smooth, and there's like you'd expect maybe one to be like they haphazardly put a rail a bit too far away, but no, everything was like perfectly placed. It was like it's so good how you can, like I say, seamlessly combine combinations of Sonic's moves. And towards the end of the game, I was a whiz with the controller, slamming down on the floor, stomping. You really, your hands feel like the button placement and how they went with the mapping. At first, I was like, when you've got a row of rings, and like previously it was like Y on the Dreamcast controller to like,
Yeah.
It took me a little bit. I was like, I'm sure I should be able to do something with these rings, and I didn't realize it was like left click. But then in the end of it, like just the button mapping was great. I thought I loved having that combination of like the cyber stages within the open world. So you've got that whole boost, and this is why I was saying a little bit earlier that Forces felt like it potentially could just have been DLC in the end for Sonic Frontiers, because you've got the whole game's worth of cyber stages as well. So when you're actually playing through the cyber stages, you're playing through like the second game that we know and love from the previous 3D Sonic games, combined with this like brand new open world stuff. And I just enjoyed the whole experience. I don't think there was a bad moment in the game. I know you mentioned the storyline. Story-wise, probably wasn't my favourite, if I'm being honest. I felt like constantly finding the characters, talking to them, and then, they've moved over to a different part of the map. I'll run over there, talk to them. They've moved again. That bit was
like
a
the
little
way
bit...
you find the story.
Yeah, that like the text story aspect of that was a little bit strange for me, and I wasn't really getting too much out of those conversations. But the actual cutscene moments, and especially towards the end of the game, with I don't want to spoil it, but like with Robotnik and is it? I won't mention it. Okay, I won't go into that. But you know what I mean? It was taking me back to like the ending of Sonic Adventure 2. With Shadow and Maria and all that sort of stuff. It was like
right.
And I do feel like they've gone out the way to put in these little subtle Sonic Adventure sort of stuff in there. Obviously, we've got some of the cyber stages are like literal recreations of Sonic Adventure stages, which is amazing, and other games worth. But the Sonic Adventure stuff is like the stuff that I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm playing City Escape here. I feel like I'm playing Metal Harbor. I could tell.
And you are.
And you are, yeah. So you've got some Sonic Adventure nods there. Just it left me feeling like maybe the next game, I would not be surprised at this point if they did say, "Oh, next game is going to be Sonic Adventure 3." Just the way it, you know what I mean, with all these little things. Unless they were just catering to those type of fans, catering to the other fans as well. It was just a great mix of content, beautifully packaged into one game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think there was a lot of fan service. Even in the story, there were story moments that were actually nods to other specific moments in previous games, including Forces, for example, everyone's favorite. But they were actually catering to the fan base in that way. I think all the nods to previous, all the Easter eggs, if you will.
There are some jokes there that I absolutely
Yes.
laughed out loud too.
Yeah. So that's for the hardcore fans, I think. Speaking of why I think it's a good game as well, I think you've mostly covered everything that I feel is good about this game as well. I was playing it earlier before we started recording. I actually lost track of time because I was having so much fun just doing what James mentioned, like riding through rails and jumping and popping balloons and getting used to the controls again. I hadn't played in a while, and I had some muscle memory, but not everything came like perfectly well to me again. So I had to get used to the like the button mapping again. But didn't take so long, and it was really fun. And I do agree that graphics are important in this game, especially. Think if you have like an open world, like a vast island to explore, if everything looks like crap, it's not fun.
Mhm.
If you look in the distance and all you see is like pixelated stuff, that's not fun. I know people complained about like pop-ups and like I don't know where you guys played the game. I played it on the Xbox One, so not the
PS5.
most
PS5, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So maybe you had a. I heard that everyone had the same experience, no matter what the console was or the PC. But there were some graphical glitches here and there, things that popped up
I know
like
Pop In was like,
rails or pop
yeah,
in, yeah. But I don't think I never felt like it hindered my abilities or my progress or like in any way harmed my gameplay. So
It
hmm,
did for
I don't know
me.
if you had. Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah. Like I needed to get all of the memory tokens right, and there were definitely some places where I just could not figure out how to get to one of the memory tokens because like whole structures were not even visible. And
Okay.
so then when I got to where I needed to be, and like I just randomly found a place, then the structure was there, and then I was like, oh, this is how I get there. Like
yeah.
in a game when you should be able to explore and go around and you see that memory token and oh, I'm gonna get to there. You're gonna need to see how you get there. And if like the platforms are invisible, it's hindering
Hmm.
in my experience.
Yeah, they were definitely
Okay.
like some were placed a little bit too high. I think that was the problem. So
Mm.
like you'd see the icon on the map and you'd be like standing under the map and the icon would disappear and you're like, well, looking up, looking all around to see where you'd even start from.
Yeah.
And because you haven't got that reference point apart from a little icon on the mini map, I do agree that pop in there was probably the only issue. Otherwise, like just running around the stage, stuff was coming in before I got to it, so it wasn't like I'm jumping for a rail and then the rail appears or disappears or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't anything like that.
Yeah.
It was literally just the memory token aspect.
Yeah, because like
Um,
most of the times, in order to figure out how to get, because like it is kind of a puzzle. How do I get to that memory token? And
yeah,
most of the times, I could just like follow the thing. Like, oh, okay, so I get there, and then like I ran a little bit, and like, oh, I need to start all the way over here. But I was able to follow that because I saw the structure all of the way. Um, so it's kind of needed.
I think my experience with that specific issue was not even like pop in, but more like where do I find the rail? Where in that huge structure? Maybe not right here. I need to go around the structure and find the spring or the rail or the balloon or the enemy that I have to do a homing attack in to
Yeah,
find a way up there. Because I can see it's here, the whatever token it is, it's here, but I need to go up. How do I go up?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's for me was more like of an issue of figuring out how to find the entry point, if you will, and not
mm.
really like a graphical issue or
Yeah,
a pop in
yeah.
or something that I was supposed to be seeing and I was not seeing.
Yeah, for me the
I'm
problem
blaming myself
was
mostly.
yeah,
That's
but
what I mean.
for me there the problem was that when I didn't find the entry point most of the times it was because I just couldn't see the structure because it wasn't loaded in yet. So
Yep.
that's why it's a graphical issue for me.
it was still like satisfying when you did find what you needed to do to get to it, and then you got it, and you're like, oh yes,
Yeah, yeah,
finally,
yeah. Oh
you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
even though it was like a little bit annoying, like you say, Casey, it was like
Yeah.
it was still kind of a puzzle. Um, I don't know if it was intended to be like that,
Mhm.
but finding the spring that started the progress to reach it ends up being still quite fun once you get there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
What about fishing, guys? Big's
Oh,
fishing.
Oh,
I had fun with fishing. I don't know. It wasn't something that I took a long time doing, but whenever I did it, I had fun. I mostly did it for the trophy,
Yeah,
for the
mm,
achievement,
yeah.
maybe for the cocoa as well,
or the
because
the
you
the
could
Eggman
trade.
things.
Oh, that as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
you had like story bits
yeah, yeah.
you could get by trading tokens in for those Eggman things,
Mm,
and for cocoa as well, because and what do you call them? The ones that there are types of tokens. You have memory tokens, but you also have the other ones that give you powers.
yeah, the seeds.
The seeds, yes, exactly. So you could also trade in tokens for fishing tokens for those seeds and for cocoa. So that's mostly why I fished, but also was a lot of like not I wouldn't say a lot of fun, but it was funny at least to see Sonic like holding a tire with like a face like, "Whoa, this is what I got,"
Yeah,
or like
Yeah.
Bad
the
Nick.
yeah, or Batnik, like some weird faces like, "Whoa, this is what I got," yeah.
Mm,
And big yay. So that was funny, at least a little
mm,
bit funny. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I was a bit overwhelmed with the currency at first, actually. Now you mentioned all those different types of tokens because you got the seeds, the memory tokens, the purple coins. They seemed quite a lot of things, the cocoa, at first, but actually it was very simple once you understand what
Yeah.
each thing does. And like when you get to those fishing shops and you're faced with all these things, it did overface me a little bit at first, but actually um, it all worked out really well.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to mention, and we obviously like the game, but was it everything everywhere all at once? Was it like
I haven't
The
what
seen that yet.
movie?
like I haven't seen the film either, but I like just we're saying like trying to put everything in the game,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and was it although good, not great? And was it all like just let's put this in and this and this and that and this Easter egg in this story as well and this gameplay
Mm.
mechanic and this pinball game and this like
Mm-hmm.
hacking game with an awesome soundtrack as well.
They also had like Ikaruga type.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The hacking missions
The
or
hacking, yeah,
whatever
indeed.
with
Yeah.
a great song. Was it too much? And could it have been less and more polished?
Oh, it definitely could have been more polished. Like speaking of expectations, I feel like usually when you talk about people having at high expectations, then you can get disappointed. I think for me, my hype and my therefore kind of higher expectations made me have a like maybe give it a little bit too much credit, more credit than it deserved. Like my brain went there. I was expecting positive things, and so that's what I saw. But
Hmm.
like recently, now when I've cooled down a little bit and now started to do the challenges, I've noticed like lots of things that I'm like, why is this a thing? Like it, I've like one thing that I've realized is that the drop dash, it kind of works as a drop dash in Sonic Boom. Like, okay, it's not really drop dash there, it's a spin dash there, but like you get like initial speed, but then it stops you to a complete halt before you can actually continue,
Hmm.
which is very weird, which has made it like when I needed to do, because well, when you do extreme mode, you have very like you basically need to do at least the cyberspaces that I did to get an S rank there. You needed to basically do like a perfect run, no mistakes. So I tried experimenting with drop dash, and I just didn't find any uses for it because just it never actually got me there faster because it got me to that complete halt. But then I realized that, oh, it only gets me to that complete halt when I press forward and do the drop dash at the same time. If I don't press forward, then Sonic suddenly does not come to that complete halt anymore, which is weird. But so I need to let go of the forward button, which also slows me down, which still kind of made it a little bit, not usable to get there faster because the amount that I slowed down was, enough to kind of negate the speed that the drop dash gave me. So like I found some places where the drop dash could be useful, but like it was a very, very, very narrow selection of
Hmm.
situations where I'm like, how does me pressing forward make Sonic come to a complete halt? How does that make sense? It
Don't
does
know.
not, and it's
Because
like
Sonic.
I need to press the button 3 times in order to do it. And so in order to actually do the thing, I need to press the button 3 times, and then like think of letting go of the Joy-Con stick, not Joy-Con stick, the stick, the thingy stick,
The analog
yeah,
stick.
that, and then analog stick, and then like do the drop dash, and then just time starting to press forward at the right time. Like it feels like a cheat, entering a cheat code or something.
I'll be
Um,
honest, Lime, until you mentioned the drop dash, I completely forgot about it because I don't think I've ever
Yes.
used it at all.
Yes.
yeah, but like,
But if you
yeah,
wanna probably if you wanna get the S ranks in a higher difficulty, you need to use anything you can or everything you can, right?
yeah, and like then there's one more thing that I want to mention, which also came to me when I started to try to do the cyberspace stages with precision. Trying to jump up on like these narrow platforms, or like maybe you run past something and you want to go back. Like if you want to try to control Sonic in the air, he moves in a weird way.
He does. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like it is it, and
Momentum.
yeah, and it's like if I want to if I in the air want to go in the opposite direction, Sonic just go like 180. He does a U-turn, which means that he, for example, turns to the left first,
He's
and
like a
like
car, isn't he? When you
yeah,
think of like the
yeah,
mechanics of a car, yeah.
yeah, and then like pushes me to the side, which is sometimes it's because it's not like it is a significant distance that Sonic goes to the side, which has pushed me over the edge to death several times, just because Sonic does that U-turn and doesn't just go backwards. And with precision, when you need to like jump up those things, it is very relevant. You need the control. You don't want Sonic to go in a direction that you're not even pushing. How is that a thing? It's very like it's been several times where I'm like run past something and like, oh no, I was supposed to jump on that bounce pad, try to go back, but then I was too close to the edge and like just tried to push back, and it goes to the left over the edge, died for that
Yeah.
reason. Why is
Hmm.
that a thing? I have no idea. And
And I
like
feel like
those
it's
things,
worse in the cyber stages for some
yeah,
reason.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In I'm only talking about the cyber stages now.
Right.
Like the drop dash or like the U-turn thing, it's not at all a thing in I think maybe the U-turn thing might be a little of a thing, but like the drop dash, it's definitely not a problem in the like outside of the cyberspace. So like many things in the controls is completely different for some reason in the cyberspace when it
Strange.
really didn't need to be different
Hmm.
at
Do I
all.
remember hearing something about like two different teams worked on like some what team worked on the open world and a team worked on the cyber stages, or am I making that
But they
up?
would still have to work from the same
Yeah.
movement,
Yeah, the move set
right?
is the same, right?
Yeah.
You'd have thought so, yeah.
One more thing that I absolutely have to mention,
Yes.
that because I played Sonic Forces a little bit today, and I realized that wow, the homing attacks feel so much more responsive here. And then
In Frontiers.
in Forces, it
Okay.
feels more responses
Okay.
than Frontiers.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
because in the cyberspaces, at least, I counted the time. Like you press the homing attack button, and it sometimes it takes up to like 1 or 2 seconds before Sonic actually responds to it. 1 or 2 seconds after you press the homing attack button, Sonic starts to actually homing attack. That is baffling to me. Why is that a thing?
That's actually something that I've not the comparison between Forces and Frontiers, but uh, how how much more difficult it is to do what you want in the cyber stages or cyberspace stages than in the open world.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the homing attack is an example as well. Like even getting the lock on enemies takes is not as smooth, not as quick as with when you're in the open world. I think
Yeah.
maybe I never I don't think I've ever even thought about this before this conversation. I've realized that, but never thought about the reasons why. Maybe I just assumed it's like it's a challenge mode, it's a challenge part of the game, so it's a little bit trickier, maybe. But it doesn't make much sense since you're like you said, we're using the same move set, we're
Yeah.
like in the same game, so
Mm.
Maybe it's just because it's
mm,
forcing you forward more,
maybe.
like down a like a linear path. It's like it wants you to go this way, so there's like parameters set to sort of keep you on track, but those parameters are like stopping you from when you want to veer because you need to veer off. There's like sort of holding Sonic back almost,
Yeah,
possibly.
Mm.
possibly. So what we're saying is Sonic Frontiers is a bad game, right? So that's what we've now changed our minds and yeah, no, I'm kidding.
No, but like I definitely like I streamed it yesterday, and I definitely raged so much because when you are put in a situation where you have to now do very difficult things, you need to be able to trust the controls and the gameplay and feel that you are the one in control. You need the precision there, and that is obviously not there. It is actually so much missing that it screwed me up several times, and that's not a good experience.
Hmm.
Hmm. I definitely felt it a little bit when I was going for because obviously the DLC's out now, and you've got the challenge mode and the boss rush, and like in the cyberspace stages of the challenge rush mode where you're trying to get through them and do S ranks. It has screwed me up a few times. I know exactly what you mean. Like a whole run has been let down because Sonic's momentum was just awkward. But
Yeah,
it hasn't. It wasn't like devastating, Like I can imagine now we've unlocked this extreme difficulty, which I think is what you were talking about, Lime, where it's like
yeah,
the timing is extremely crucial.
yeah.
That is literally hair pulling moments, I can imagine.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't, like I obviously didn't mind it before, but now specifically when I needed to be able to trust it, I couldn't. And it was definitely like frustrating.
Yeah, if every like not even second, but like millisecond counts.
Yeah, indeed.
Whatever thing in the game doesn't really work as intended screws you over and you're upset. Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. When I mentioned the everything everywhere all at once thing, I both meant it as a compliment
Yeah,
and
that is an amazing movie.
I
I've
haven't
seen it.
seen it. I know it should be, but I haven't seen it. But I just I like the concept of Sonic Team or Sega or wherever thinking, let's put everything here. Let's
Mm.
make this. It felt like a proper Sega game, like in from the 90s, perhaps when they were like, let's go crazy.
Yeah.
Let's do pinball. Let's do Ikaruga. Let's do like shoot 'em up. Let's like do
Mm.
fishing, and then you can run through walls and parkour and do
Run
like
through walls.
through no no climb walls
Oh, there we
maybe
go. Yeah,
not run
run
through
up
walls.
walls.
That
Run up
through
walls.
walls would be a glitch probably. Uh, but even that, maybe we haven't seen all the DLC, so who knows? Run
Hope
through
Oh,
so.
walls.
maybe Sonic Games
Ghost
ghost power up.
Sonic,
Yeah,
yes. Uh, wisps are coming,
yeah,
Oh no,
but
please. Please, God, no.
but I meant this as a compliment as well because I think it was awesome. It wasn't polished. You could see that they were like throwing things in the game just because they wanted to like I don't know what the reasoning was behind this, but I'm here for it.
maybe
Yeah.
they felt they needed variety.
I don't know. Yeah, I think people would be happy with just a decent open world Sonic game that controls well, that looks good.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing, and it
yeah,
is, and it is. That's what Sonic Frontiers is. But
Mm.
all those other things that they put in there are nice additions, I think, and made me enjoy the game and have fun with the game. Like just have fun. Like this is fun. I don't know why this is here. I don't know what the
but it's
logic
fun.
behind, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
glad it's here. Thank you
Maybe
for
it's like what you were saying, Casey, where they don't know what to cater to everyone, so they just did everything.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. As for the part where I didn't mean this as a compliment, but more of a criticism, is that obviously some things felt like they were not really connected with everything else. They were um, there was a little bit of lack of polish as well. Although if we're seeing this and looking at this as the first in what the future of 3D Sonic will be, uh, we can give it a pass. And I
Mm.
think that's where or what everyone is saying about this game is like it's a good starting point. It's a good foundation,
Yeah.
and hopefully they will build upon this in future games and we'll get an awesome, amazing, like 10 out of 10 Sonic 3D Sonic game in the future. Uh, we'll
But that
see. We'll see.
depends if they're gonna are they gonna continue the trend of this style of game, do you think, or are they gonna go back to the drawing board like they seem to do every other game?
I so hope they stick with this formula, but just polishes it and builds on it to make it better. Like, I absolutely agree. This is
Hmm.
an amazing foundation, but you need to build on it. It needs to mature.
I think what would be nice to see is this style of gameplay, but set in like Sonic's world, where he's running around Green Hills, he's running around, but they're the open zones,
That would
and
be amazing.
and the characters are just there out in the open. They don't have to be the sort of like honing in virtual reality sort of cyber version of Tails. He just happens to be there. You bump into him, you chat to him, and then they can incorporate these sort of Sonic Adventure ideas where maybe one level is you're playing as Knuckles or something. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what
Mm,
everyone kind of wants. They want that sort of gameplay where we can choose a different character for once. I know games at the moment are like constantly Sonic, 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 but going back to sort of those Sonic Adventure ideas where you get a few stages as Tails mixed in with fishing, mixed in with treasure hunting, perhaps not so much, specifically that those types of gameplay. I'm not too fussed about having treasure hunting challenges in the
mm,
future, but
mm,
being able to play as those
yeah.
characters and do different things, I think would be a neat addition to this formula.
Mhm.
All I'm thinking there is, yes, I would absolutely like to see that, but finish the things that you do and make it work and polish it before you add other things, so that you get one good thing instead of three unpolished, unfinished things.
Yeah, I get you.
So to complement that. And before I get into that, I wanted to mention one more thing in regards to the story.
Yep.
I felt a little bit like the story was what we got in the end was like incomplete.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know if on purpose, so as to, you know, we can uncover more things like this whole past world and what happened to this ancient civilization in the future, in future games, or because they ran out of like time or it didn't fit the game. I don't know what the reasoning was, but I felt like it was a little bit rushed at times. You got glimpses of things, but not really like many things were not fully explained. Which, for me, I'm not really fussed because I'm not really here for the story, although it helps if it's good. But maybe Lime, and you were saying you agree, so maybe for you that was a thing that you noticed as well.
Yeah, it was. I there are definitely questions, and I don't mind questions, but at least like you should feel like, oh yeah, there was a climax, and now it is resolved, and I'm looking forward to the next experience. Here it was like, so what was that thing in the sky? That symbol? Like, am I dumb, or did we at all get an explanation for that at
Yeah,
all?
not
Like, or
really.
what was that?
Yeah. And at the same time, it's not a cliffhanger either, is it? It's like,
Mm,
you know,
You I mean, yeah, not a cliffhanger, like something that leads you to believe that there will be something in the future,
yeah,
but not
it
really a
was
cliffhanger.
it was gameplay wise for me there as well. Like I defeated Supreme very easily, and I'm like, that was for me easier than Giganto, like the first boss. And I I remember having the exact same reaction that Sonic had, like before Sonic even had it. Like, was that it? As
Yeah.
it was just, was that really? No, that can't be it. That can't have been the last boss.
did you complete it on hard though?
I did beat the end. Yeah,
Okay.
He's
like
he's
I did
that
get
good.
that boss fight.
He's that good, James. Yeah.
But yeah, that's only on hard mode. Like if you're gonna be
Yeah.
normal mode, the Supreme is the final boss.
Yeah.
So
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
and
know what
it
you're
So
saying
was
there. The first Titan was an epic moment for me,
yeah, oh
especially with
yeah,
the music as
heck
well. I
yeah,
know we haven't really touched too much
yeah.
on the music, but the music, that is like my genre of choice anyway. Like metalcore, screamy music. I love that. So that I know, I know a lot of people were shocked a bit. I suppose going from like you just running around the open world and then suddenly you're like yell, well, supersonic, and it just kicks in with screaming and stuff, and it's like insane, and it's like it is like an end
yeah,
boss moment, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I love that so much.
I know people were saying it felt a little bit out of place, as it happened, but for me it was just insane. It was like it. That's the kind of stuff from Sonic that I love, and I wasn't expecting,
Mm,
that kind of a humongous boss. In fact, the thought of a Titan at first, this kind of thing, seemed a bit strange to be in a Sonic game. But when you're actually flying around a supersonic and it's just, you smash him in the face and then you're
mm,
bringing all the stuff on him and then throwing a rocket at the next boss, the Wyvern or whatever,
yeah,
those moments stand out the most for me.
yeah.
And
You
again, it's
throw
probably
it
because of the
at a
music.
freaking mountain. It is badass. It is so amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
But definitely the music just in those moments just makes those even more special for me.
Epic,
Yeah,
really. Yes,
So
yes.
much, yeah.
adrenaline.
And
Mm,
obviously, I didn't mention the music because I think we've established that music in Sonic games is always good. But this has a lot of variety as well.
Yeah,
Love how the music in the islands like has let those variations as you keep progressing through the game. You get the Chaos Emeralds, and the music changes a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then
Mhm.
at the end, like you feel like you've completed that island.
Yeah.
And it's a different genre, obviously not metalcore, but enjoyable as well.
I know what you mean.
I enjoyed the pinball and the shoot 'em up like bonus stages as well. They got Hero to do that, like the guy behind Outrun and
Okay.
Fantasy Zone, and
Yeah,
which is awesome. Those felt like when I listened to them, I felt like, oh, this is like Hero. This is classic Sega music from
I
the
see.
arcades. So
Mm.
like those whistles from the Fantasy Zone soundtrack. Uh, I think in either in the pinball or the I think it's pinball stage. I think, but amazing, amazing. So obviously the soundtrack, hands down, one of the best Sonic soundtracks in recent memory,
for
at
sure.
least for me. Yeah.
I like this the cyberstage music as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Again, very different.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
was so surprised that because I kind of expected it to be one song per environment. It was just like you come back when you play like a Chemical Planet environment. It would be like the same music all the time, but they like it's a different song every time. I was very
yeah.
surprised by
True.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, considering there's like it's getting on for probably about 40 or 50 cyber stages, and there's a unique track for each of them.
Yeah, indeed.
Very good.
Was it too much though? I'm probably contradicting myself, but the
Too much
thing is,
parody in the songs.
because when you have, if you think about Sonic, classic Sonic games, right?
Mm.
Every zone has a song,
Mm.
has a theme. Maybe you have a variation in the second act or something, but something that you can like. Um, it gets stuck into your head and you remember, oh, that's the stage, this stage has this song, and like James said before, you create memories um, connected to the songs that you hear in the game.
Mm.
But here it's hard to at least for me, I haven't played the game like every day for months and months on end, but
What? You haven't?
i'll I'll
KC.
leave now, but I don't think there, because there are so many, they
I know what you're
can't be
saying.
as memorable as in previous games, if
That makes
that makes
sense.
sense.
That makes sense.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Maybe picking a theme for like Green Hill and maybe a theme for Sky Sanctuary and and Chemical Plant. So they all have like a theme song, maybe have variations throughout the different cyberspace stages, but have the same overall theme to make it more memorable. But maybe that would be, not that I'm complaining because the music is awesome
I
again,
think because the
but
music's so strong, it's fine. It's just I'm surprised they did that much. To be honest, I think it's only an issue if you're going to buy the CD soundtrack because it's like six CDs, 90 quid or something. Do you know what I mean? It's not a cheap ordeal, but I don't know. And I get what you're saying though.
yeah. But that's like a nitpicking here. No,
But
nothing,
those
nothing
that's why you've
major.
got those standout Titan battle things because that is what you remember.
Probably,
Yeah.
yes, you're right. Okay, but going back to what you guys were saying about the story as well, and what I said as well, but one thing that, and also I think James, you mentioned playable characters in the future. So
Yeah.
there's a future DLC coming, the last one. I
Yeah.
think it's number 3. I think we have the first one is out already. We'll have a second one for Sonic's birthday, I believe, and then there will be a third update in 2023, which features playable characters or new playable characters and a new story. So, are you expecting some of the things that we mentioned here to be fixed or, you know, improved with this DLC, or do we need to wait for the sequel to get them fixed?
Would you think it's like an attempt to bridge the gap to the next game by like, oh, we continue to work on the game and developing. You can play. Who can you play? I can't remember from
I
the
think
DLC.
I think Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. I think.
Okay, So do you think they've been working on those since, and it's like potentially bridging the gap to a Sonic Frontiers 2 where those characters are in the game, and this is like
That could be as well. I
depends at how
hadn't thought
much
about that.
the gameplay is going to change by playing as those characters.
I'm
Don't
guessing
know.
more like challenges, like a little bit like the Sonic 06 friend missions. Lime's our 06 expert here, so
Oh my
the
gosh.
ones the little the like short sections in which you could like control Tails for a little bit, and then
Yeah.
another one
Hmm.
with Knuckles, and so maybe I'm guessing more like short challenges with them, or
So mostly Sonic, but there'll be a bit of a
I don't know.
level with
I have no
Okay.
idea because you'll have new story. They said new story as well.
Mm.
So could it be what they were doing in cyberspace before they got rescued, or what did they do after they got rescued? I don't know.
I'm kind of thinking that maybe like you're gonna when you play as Knuckles, you're gonna do that on the Ares Island because that's where Knuckles was. Like maybe they're
Okay.
gonna be locked to their own their own island that way, and then like tell the story of what they did there when Sonic wasn't there.
That's a good theory.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you think they'll do like these sort of Sonic Adventure moments where you're playing as Knuckles and you're bumping into Sonic? So like you're
Mm.
seeing the same
Ah, yeah.
thing
Maybe,
from their eyes. That'd be cool.
maybe. But I think they are definitely gonna fix some things. If I'm not mistaken, like I think I've heard that they are gonna change the last boss a little bit, and I think the new story is going to add to the whole completing the story thing
Mm-hmm.
overall as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Could be. Could be. Okay. So we're waiting for that as well. That's what we're saying. I wanted to mention my biggest gripe with the game has been fixed,
Oh,
and I just noticed it today with
oh
the
yeah, oh
DLC.
yeah, the Coco thing, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, I've
yes,
mentioned this many times.
yeah.
So it's a well documented gripe. You could, if you wanted to upgrade your speed and your ring capacity, you had to collect Coco and speak to the elder Coco. Is it? I think so.
Yeah.
And then it was a very frustrating. I'm just
Yes,
yeah, my hands right now. You should see them.
it was a
Um,
very baffling choice to do it that way. I
you
don't
you had like to
understand.
press many times, and then if you it was like like a short delay between when you could press A to keep going,
And the
and
first option's no.
the first option is no thanks, and then you have to start over again, and you have to do it one level at a time, right? So you had to do it one level at a time, and so I
Yeah.
stopped at level 70 after several weeks of once a
Mm,
week booting
mm,
up the game and speaking to Elder Coco.
mm,
uh, like doing 5 levels at a time for both ring capacity and max speed, and then I today I booted up the game again, and I was at level 70 for both of those things, and then I realized there was a new option.
mm.
You can use all the cocoa on one of the abilities, and since I had all the needed cocoa for both, just very quickly, I upgraded both of my abilities and got the 2 remaining achievements that I needed to
Yeah,
100% quote unquote the game. Not really, just get all
yeah.
the trophies. And so
There
that's
we go.
for me, that alone justifies getting the DLC,
You'll
even
never
if it's
get back the
free.
time you spent though.
Yeah,
All
indeed.
that
I
time.
Thank
never
you.
got to do
Thank you
that.
very much.
I never
Thank you,
got to
James.
do that. I had already 100%ed the game, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. And now with the extreme mode, it doesn't matter if you upgrade or not, because that's not gonna do anything anyway. So that's not gonna help me there. It's already too late for me. Get the DLC, save yourselves.
Yes, please do. Please do. Wait for the DLC. Don't upgrade before the DLC. Yeah. So I think we've discussed Sonic Frontiers at length. My last topic, the one that I shared with you guys before we started the show, is so we said what our feelings were in terms of what we expected from 3D Sonic before Frontiers. So now that we had Frontiers, and we already touched upon this a little bit,
Yeah,
what do we see 3D Sonic being going forward? Will it be Sonic Frontiers 2? Will it be, or whatever it's called, will it be building upon this foundation? Or are Sega doing what they always do and coming up with something different? What do you
good
think? What
question.
do you hope for?
I mean, I've I'm still hoping that we will eventually get Sonic Adventure 3. But I feel like maybe what I was thinking in my head is like slightly changed by doing the show now. Like now you've mentioned about them taking the formula that they've got here with Frontiers and trying to expand on it and improve it. Why would they go and just create a Sonic Adventure 3 after that? That would, I mean, it would be typical Sega sort of,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
changing stuff before perfecting it. But maybe they
it's
can
it's not why, James. Why not?
maybe we can intertwine them a bit now, and Sonic Frontiers Adventure, and it's like it takes what I was describing before, where it's like you've got these open world stages set in Sonic's universe with his friends who are playable, and it's a more of a story driven game, which I feel like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 were like more cutscene heavy, and um, I felt like Frontiers lacked that sort of a direction in terms of the story. Like I said earlier, it wasn't really doing it for me. Just going around text sort of conversations with characters hopping from one side of the map to the other for no apparent reason. I don't know. Um, but yeah, if they could, it is a difficult one, man. Because I'm probably more hopeful now because we've had such a great game in Frontiers that they can create another great 3D Sonic game. But then, because this one's so great now, previously we were like all wanting Adventure 3, but now has that changed somewhat? Do we want more of a Frontiers 2 type of game now over that? It's a difficult, sort of a thing to think about now. I don't want. I'd still personally want an Adventure 3. I think that would probably be a mind blowing thing if there was like a trailer Sonic Adventure 3 it ended with that logo kind of thing. That would be like me,
Hmm.
Pert boner kind of. uh, but Frontiers 2 maybe could sort of give that effect still.
could it
If
could it be Adventure 3 in the style of or
Yeah,
building upon Frontiers?
definitely so. I could
Yeah.
see that, and like we mentioned with the third DLC where you've got the playable characters, perhaps like I was saying, that could be a bit of a foot in the water kind of
Yeah.
test the water to see how that actually goes down.
I mean, what was Sonic Adventure? Like you were in an open
Yeah,
world kind of going around doing stuff, and then you went to different places, and in those
Yeah,
places there were stages. It's not that
exactly.
far from what
no,
Frontiers
that's
is.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my thoughts exactly. Yeah.
So you could definitely mash those two genres together. That could definitely be a thing. Yeah.
Is that what you would like to see? Something different, something new, the same thing, or not the same,
What I
but
would like to
more
see,
Frontiers?
I would like to see them building on this base that they have now. I am an absolute believer in that they can make a game that will make the current Sonic Frontiers look like a freaking prototype, because there are lots of things that they could do. One of the things that I'm thinking is the platforms and the rails and the stuff mixed in the environment. It kind of feels a little off to me. It doesn't really feel like it belongs to the world. So there are lots of things that you could do to have those kinds of, if we call them puzzles, to be a lot more integrated visually with the environment that they are in. Like maybe you don't need these shiny platforms in a forest. Maybe they should be like wooden planks, or like actual bridges. Really make them feel a part of their environment a little bit more. I feel that would be I think that would make a huge difference in the feel of the game. Like if they implement that, and then we go back to Sonic Frontiers and we see like platforms that seems to just be, not a part of the world at all, we will look back at that and feel like, okay, yeah, this was like a cool idea, but now this looks like a prototype. I feel like just doing that one thing
Mhm.
would greatly enhance the immersion of the whole thing. I would definitely like to see it merged with the adventure formula as well. Kind of do it like a mix between Sonic Adventure, like the open world thingy, and then you have stages to go through. But then when you go to stages, it would be actual stages, not like these bite size ones that there are in Frontiers right now.
Yeah.
So there are definitely so much potential there, and they could go so far with the next game if they wanted to. Again,
Mhm.
making this game feel like a prototype. I am convinced of that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the boost system doesn't lend itself well to what we want from an adventure style stage, where it's more, it's still fast, but it's more on the exploration of the stage? Like if you think of Emerald Coast or whatever,
Yeah. I
you know what I
can.
mean. It's these a lot of elements to that stage.
Mm,
Whereas in Frontiers and the most recent sort of 3D Sonic games, it's just boost, and that's why the stage is like 40 seconds long, or
mm,
1.5 minutes max.
mm.
And when you really think about all of the cyber stages in Sonic Frontiers, can you memorize them? You think, oh, like 1-7. In your head, can you picture how that stage looks right now?
Yeah,
Because
definitely
it's
not.
very difficult, isn't it? Whereas,
Mm,
like in Sonic Adventure, each stage has a proper name, like Speed Highway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you instantly can picture that stage and the layout in your head. And I suppose because there's not as many stages as well, you've got like what Sonic's got 10, 11 maybe
Mhm.
in Sonic
Mhm.
Adventure,
mm.
and the fully fledged stages. So I think if they could do that kind of an idea with Frontiers, it's just whether or not the boost system lends itself well to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I could definitely see them ban the boost formula and go back to more like an adventure formula there to make that happen. I
Mhm.
could definitely see that, and for me, like I wouldn't mind like at
Because
all.
they could
Like
still have the boost element in the open world bit,
yeah, yeah,
perhaps.
indeed, yeah, indeed, indeed.
I wouldn't mind at all. To be perfectly honest, I wouldn't mind getting rid of the cyberspace stages.
Mm-hmm,
Shock
mm-hmm,
horror. Because as enjoyable as some of them were, I felt like they were more of a chore, something that I needed to do in order to go back to the open world where I had a lot of fun and progress through the game. They don't bother me, but they were not as fun for me as like the open world was. I could see if we would were to get a Sonic Adventure 3 in the style of Frontiers, or Frontiers in the style of Sonic Adventure 3, whatever, um, that the stages would have to be rethinked, and we'd have maybe the move set would have to be adjusted as well.
mm.
But many people consider the date stages in Unleashed to be like the pinnacle of 3D Sonic with the
True.
boost
I
system.
understand why.
Um, I don't know if I feel that way, but I think I understand why people say that. And they are longer than these cyberspace stages. They're more elaborate. They have different elements. They have like set pieces and whatnot, and
Yeah,
maybe that would work.
more memorable.
Yeah, they're more memorable. They have different names. They're like continents or countries or whatever, and maybe that could be a solution to that whole. How do we make Sonic Adventure 3 with proper stages that are more memorable and fun than the cyberspace stages? I don't know. But I would love, as for my opinion on this matter, I would love to see Sonic Team build on this foundation that I think Sonic Frontiers is. I think everything that we've seen so far, that we've heard about the game, that we've heard from the developers as well, I think it feels like this is the start of a new concept that has been well received, at least in terms of sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have to take it more seriously as well since the success of the movie,
Yeah.
because a lot of obviously they probably gained a ton of fans from that. So
Yeah.
it's not just like people like your Sonic fans that are going to pick it up now. It has to appeal to a larger audience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think they really are taking it seriously. And I think when they came up with the concept for Sonic Frontiers, perhaps originally it probably would have been more in line with Forces. But then since that, they've maybe seen how they've got to put a bit more effort into these 3D Sonic games going forward. And I think Sonic Frontiers is definitely feels like the start of that renaissance
Mm.
somewhat.
I'm so happy that finally like I feel seen. Like it feels like they are now seeing my demographic as well, and not only like
Middle-aged people.
uh
It hurts, James. It hurt.
Young adults, Casey.
Yeah.
at
Yes.
least at least they don't seem to with this game thinking more like, oh, Sonic is for childish children and we should make it such. Hear it like it they've made it enjoyable for all of us here, which I feel is definitely the right move.
Yeah, bit darker into it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because well, originally I was thinking like my wife said, "Are you going to play the new Sonic game with my daughter?" And I was thinking like, yeah, she'd probably like that. But when I started playing it, I was thinking actually some of the enemies and the titans and stuff probably a bit too scary for like a 3-year-old. So I
Okay.
haven't actually done that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It is more catered to a young adult than
Mm. Yeah.
Hashtag listen to the middle-aged men. Yeah. But
One question
yes,
that
yes.
that I have that I want to that I want to touch upon, like the reusing game design in the
Hmm.
cyberspace stages, based on previous stages. Genius or lazy?
Lazy.
lazy. Yeah, I'd say that because we've seen your Green Hill, your Chemical Plant, and that reuse so much. And when going back to the adventure games, when you do think of those stages, they are every bit unique in themselves, aren't they? Just every 3D Sonic game starts with Green Hill, doesn't it? Or even the Sonic Mania started with Green Hill. It's kind
Mm,
of the fail safe.
mm.
So it came to no surprise when you delve into the first cyber stage and it's Green Hill. It's I feel like maybe that probably does come under laziness in terms of playing it safe.
That said,
Mm.
if we were to get a proper open world Green Hill
That
zone
that would be okay
or
in
Green
my opinion.
Hill world,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. I would
Mm.
Yeah.
love to do that.
Mm.
Like we've seen in a few fan games, right?
Hmm.
People have tried to do to recreate that in an open, not like the Sonic Adventure 2 one, the one you unlocked with all the emblems. Something like a proper, like one of the islands, but being Green Hill with all the colors and the
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
like the
That would be cool.
badniks. That would be cool. I think.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah. Like one part of me felt it was interesting to try to figure out what stage that this cyberspace was based on. It was a little bit of a puzzle for me, and like, oh, I wonder what this stage is.
Mm.
But the same time, if you are a designer, you're gonna have to think about how will this be received, and I don't think most people would see it that way. Like, oh yeah, I get to figure out what stage that this is based on. Like they are, and which they did as well, gonna think that that's kind of lazy. Like now they're trying to get away with copy pasting things like they've done so many times already. They did it in Mania.
Yeah. See, I
Yeah.
was thinking you
Mhm.
meant
So
just
it's
like
like
the
a pattern, it
environment,
seems.
but you
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
layout, the
No, no, no. Yeah,
stage
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
layouts as well. Yeah.
no. I'm not just talking about actually, I'm not talking about the environment here. I'm talking about like the game, like building the stage up based on previous stages. Like we have Radical Highway, for example,
Yeah. I get you.
in there.
I think from that perspective, even lazier,
Mm,
to be honest. Although genius, because, probably in terms of time, it saved them a lot of time,
Yeah.
just reusing parts of previous Sonic stages, just pitting them with, like a different layout, a different, like, ambient, retooling it as like Green Hill or Chemical Plant or whatever. But it would have been nice to see something new, something that, even if it were like strange, like really like a cyber spacey thing, right? Like
mm,
Hmm.
cybernetic and digital, and not just like you looked at the sky and there were like glitches and at some certain points in the horizon, but
mm,
like a proper, like, digital thingy, whatever. I'm not really sure what they could do with that, but maybe, but something that looked different and felt different and had definitely a new design in terms of the stage design as well, the level design.
mm, mm,
I think that would be more genius than just reusing and retooling things that we've seen before.
Yeah. When I was playing like the Metal Harbor version or the City Escape version, don't get me wrong, I thought those were like standout moments to me because it was like, oh, this is based on that, Sonic Adventure stage. But beyond that, I do get Lime's point. I feel like they probably could have spent more time, and that's potentially what they could do with a future installment of Frontiers, whatever the next plans are, is to go back to the drawing board in terms of stage design.
But again, for me, not so important. And so I think we're entering nitpicking territory here.
mhm,
Again, so just to be clear, because I think sometimes we spend a lot of time just speaking about the things we don't like,
Mm,
that maybe we give people the wrong impression. Again, this is a good game. This is a
yeah,
good Sonic
it's
game.
because it's so good that it's I suppose it's harder to talk about the bad things, but the bad things are like the things that,
Stand out,
yeah, they
maybe.
stand out because you want, if those
Yeah.
things were right, it would be like a 10 out of 10 game.
Hmm.
Whereas to me, it's like it is a 9 out of 10 game. So it's like it's an amazing game still, and it blew me away, to be honest. Because
Hmm.
again, going back to the expectation things, it was better than my expectations were going into it. So I think in that sort of sense, it's a proper win from me.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. It comes from a place of love for
Yeah,
the game. So
Yeah,
that's what we're
exactly,
saying.
exactly. There is a difference between pointing out flaws of a game that you dislike and pointing out flaws of a game that you love.
yeah.
It's
Hmm.
definitely a
For sure.
difference there.
For sure. Okay. So Lime and SkillJim, any small issue or praise, whatever you want to mention before we wrap up this
Um,
episode of the Sega Lounge?
we're not going to do any more negatives after that. what, what you've just mentioned, but yeah, just if you haven't played Frontiers, I mean, you probably haven't got to the end of whatever length of podcast this is, listening to us talk about Frontiers if you've not played it. But if you are one of the few that haven't played it, I would definitely recommend it. Don't listen to any naysayers out there. Judge the game for yourself, and I think for the most part, it has been a highly acclaimed game, which is rare with Sonic 3D games, and possibly the rarity of that is why people were a little bit worried going into it. But because it has turned out to be such an amazing game, I think it has got all the credit it did deserve in the end, and I think that tells the story of the reason why you need to play it if you haven't. Which I don't think anyone listening hasn't played it. So
I am so happy that they went the direction that they went. They broadened the target audience. They seemed to be much more ambitious with this when it comes to quality, like in every aspect. And I absolutely hope that they continue with this and like continue, if I can put it in these words, like in taking it seriously, like making it the star franchise that it, in my opinion, should continue to be. So I really hope that they continue in this direction. And yeah,
it's quality over
Yep.
quantity.
yeah,
Oh,
indeed.
for sure. For sure. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Nothing else to add here. I agree with everything that you've said. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me for this celebration, if you will, of 6 months of Sonic Frontiers. Again, we are still waiting for the two two DLCs that
Mhm.
remain for the year. We had one is available already for free, by the way. So if you haven't, by some reason, downloaded it, just update the game and give it a try. Especially if you haven't updated or upgraded all of Sonic's abilities, please don't do it before you download the DLC. Save yourself the headache. Save
Indeed.
yourself the frustration,
Yeah.
and just go with DLC first.
It's actually a really
Um,
good time to come to the game if you know
yeah,
you didn't play it first with this DLC, the music additions and like the quality to life with that upgrades definitely makes the game even better. To be honest, I wish I had those options at first.
yes, yes. And the game's been on sale several times. At least I think, if we're not counting Steam, I think twice at least since it launched
Hmm.
on every
Didn't
platform.
it?
I
It came
think.
down in price quite early on, didn't it? I feel like.
Yes, 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 indeed. So if you haven't picked it up, do yourself a favor and try it out. Definitely recommend it from all three of us.
Yep.
So,
Very much so.
Skill Jim, how can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, hopefully they don't hunt me down in person, but on the
How can people find you? Tell
yeah.
us. Tell us your home
Where?
address.
On the interwebs, I am just mainly on Twitter for the most part at SkillJim. For the rest of the part, I'm part of the co-ownership of Shenmue Dojo. So if you like Shenmue, hit up shenmuedojo.com and you'll find everything there: YouTube videos, Twitch streams, magazines, bloody all sorts. So yeah, that's where you'll find me
Mhm.
on the
I,
interwebs.
I hear Ryo Hazuki will be playable in the last wave of DLC for Sonic
Ooh.
Frontiers. Just a
Imagine that.
rumor,
Yeah,
nothing confirmed. No, it's not even that.
it's
I'm
not
sorry.
true.
No, I'm sorry to disappoint, but no, not
Oh,
You would get
likely.
sweaty, very sweaty, but running around like that.
Yes. Oh, the possibilities. Anyway, that's great. Lime, we know you constantly deliver on
oh.
everything.
All right.
So, where can people find you apart
Pe-
from your home address
All
on the
right. Yeah.
interwebs?
Yeah. People can find me on Twitter and Twitch, LimeReversed on both. On Twitter, I just post random stuff. On Twitch, I 100% games, mostly Sonic games.
Yeah, recommended as well. So you both get the Sega Lounge seal of approval. So people should definitely check out these two awesome friends of the podcast. Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time to talk Sonic Frontiers.
Always a pleasure. Always
Amazing.
a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Casey.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. And enjoy Sonic Frontiers. The Sega Lounge will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Find them at opussciencecollective.bandcamp.com. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The Sega Lounge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com and wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. A Mixed On Productions podcast.